Okay, so I'm back again, round two. It's raining still. This is still the 19th of December, same day, just a little bit later on. I've had some sleep. Actually, having some sleep has given me a time to think and ponder about the film, and I may not be as enthusiastic as I was at 3 o'clock this morning. But I'm going to leave that for a little while. I'm going to go and watch the film again and back to watch it again. I've already made a load of notes, but I seem to be finding more things about the film that I don't like in my notes than I did like. So that's interesting to know. You know, my initial reaction straight from the cinema might have been a little bit more emotional than anything else, and the emotions may have got the better of me. I don't know. I'm going to watch the film again, gauge it on that, make some more notes, and I'm going to complete this video off with my full spoiler alert review. So if you don't want any spoilers, don't watch this video. I'm going to go a full Pete Tong on the film. So yeah, JJ Chris Terrio, watch out. It's not bad. I still like the film. Just putting that in there now. I didn't dislike the film. It's just that I think I might have been a bit more emotionally involved in maybe some of the things that happened in the film than I am now. I don't know. Let me go watch again and we'll be back. See you in a bit. Bye. One of my favourite scenes from Force Awakens, and it's the scenes like this and with the passing of other big characters in Star Wars. It kind of makes it really emotional. And I went and watched the film the other night, and it was really emotional. I teared up in quite a few parts of the film, and then I had some sleep and woke up in the morning and made a list of things that I've got a list in front of me of things that I liked and things that I didn't like too much, things I wanted to talk about as well. Not necessarily that I liked or disliked, but perhaps something that is worth talking about in a review video. So I've got a list, and it's not really in any particular order. I've tried to keep it, you know, as the running order of the film, but it didn't quite work out when I got right down to the list. Long list of stuff to talk about. But let me just first off by saying, like I said a little bit earlier in the video, this is a spoiler video. If you haven't watched the film and you don't want to know any spoilers or anything about the film, turn it off now, because I'm about to talk quite a bit about the film. And initially, you find out a lot of information actually in the opening sequence, the opening credits, as they scroll through your normal Star Wars credits, as they scroll through and the music comes on, and everyone's like, wow. So we find out that actually Rey is looking for the First Order. She wants to destroy the First Order, or at least you know, defeat the First Order. And Ren is looking for Palpatine. So we already know within the first few seconds of watching this film that Palpatine's in this film. And if I can talk a little bit about Palpatine and that kind of storyline, when that came about, because some people are slating JJ for bringing Palpatine back. I actually think it's a really good thing. And I'll talk about it more a little bit later on. But when Snoke was killed off in Last Jedi, you couldn't have Kylo Ren being that top person. You can't, because all of the films have this this guy baddie, but he always, you know, Darth Vader isn't the top guy. He's the main man, but he's not the top head honcho. He couldn't be. He needed someone to be guiding him, and someone that he can take orders from. And by killing off Snoke in the Last Jedi was, in my own opinion, a really bad thing for Rian Johnson to do. And JJ needed something to come back into this film. I guarantee you, if Rian Johnson hadn't killed off Snoke, Snoke would still be in this film. We wouldn't need Palpatine. It's just absolutely. It's my opinion, but either way, I would have liked to have had Snoke, and we build on understanding where Snoke's from and all that kind of stuff. I mean, even in Last Jedi, we thought Snoke has something potentially to do with Palpatine, could have been Palpatine, so that could have been expanded on anyway. But I just think, you know, and a lot of fans are slating JJ for bringing Palpatine back, but I think it's amazing. I've always loved the Emperor. Emperor's been a massive player in all of the first 6 films, in fact, and you know, I think it was a really good way to go. So in the first few seconds of the film, in the scrolling credits, you already know that Palpatine's back. We don't quite know how much back he is, but in the first 5 minutes of the actual opening sequence of the film, that opening sequence with Kylo finding Palpatine in the unknown regions, it's actually chilling. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Finding out that Palpatine's back, and that Snoke was a clone, and that Palpatine's been running the show. He's been master of puppets since the very beginning. You know, the Jedi didn't know that Palpatine was a Sith Lord back in episode 1, 2 and 3. You know, it took them ages to find out, and you know, all a plan, all an absolute plan by Palpatine. And I love that story arc. I think that's brilliant. And by the end of the film, when Palpatine is destroyed, I think that's a good arc for Palpatine. That he's been in some degree in all 9 films, and I think that's brilliant. And I know some people don't like that idea, but I thought that was an incredible story. So that's good. So the first 5 minutes, we know that Palpatine's back. Ren finds him, you know, really early. Snoke was a clone, obviously. We suspected that already. And he's now sending Ren off to kill Rey. And that bugged me a little bit. And I didn't understand. Obviously, we understand now why. But, you know, it got me thinking, why does he want Rey killed? Why does he want Rey killed? Okay, so then for the next 30 minutes of the film, you kind of find out all of the other questions that we've been asking. You know, who's Rey? Who were her parents? And we obviously find out that she's the granddaughter of Palpatine, which in itself is quite freaky, because I'll come on to this again. I like that. I think that's brilliant. It's one of the theories that a lot of people had. You know, she had something to do with Palpatine, potentially something to do with Snoke. And I think that's a good storyline to go with. But then it brings me on to some of the negative points about these films and what they've always done to us. When you sit back and you think, you know, that's great, we've answered one question. We now have a 10 ton of other bleeding questions to answer, and that's what these films kind of do. They draw us in, give us the answers to a few questions, and then leave us wanting more. You know, Rey's parents, Rey's dad is a Palpatine. Where the hell has he been? What the hell? Do you know what I mean? Rey's dad is a Palpatine. He must have been Force sensitive. What the frick? Where has he been? What's he been up to? I'm guessing that the novelisation that's going to come out in March, which will cost you a pretty penny to buy, will hopefully answer some of those questions. I've done a bit of research on a few of the other questions that I've got, which I'll come on to a little bit later, because the novelisation is going to delve deep into some of the things that the film couldn't tell us. And I think it was mainly to do with time constraints. Maybe this film probably should have been a 4-hour film, in my own personal opinion, because there's a lot of things in this film where we don't see enough of. There's some things in this film, and I'll come on to in a second, that I think we see too much of and kind of don't make any. They could have cut out, is what I mean. They could have cut out the storyline, and we wouldn't have been none the wiser or even cared. Anyway, let's carry on. So for the first 30 minutes of the film, you find out a fair deal about what's going on. One thing I didn't like, and I revisited and watching it the second time, was the comedy in these 3 films has been what's been getting a lot of fans, and there was a bit of comedy in this film, and not as much as there was, you know, in previous 2. But we first see Rey, and she makes a joke. It kind of starts the film off in a way for me that I look back and I think it just was unnecessary. You know, she's floating in the air, she's doing a whole Jedi thing, she's trying to hear the voices of 1,000 Jedi before her. and she's like, you know, be with me, they're not with me. I just think that was just, you could have just left it out, JJ, and it would have been, that scene would have been just a little bit better for me. I think it didn't add anything, and it just took away from the feeling. I want Rey to be this amazing Jedi, and you know, you never saw that kind of joke from Luke. Do you know what I mean? It was just always about hard work and trying to get this. It wasn't about having fun as such, you know. I don't know, for me it just didn't really work. So moving on through the film, we lost quite a few people in this film, and then they came back again. So we kind of lose Chewie. The scene where Rey has blasted the transporter and we think Chewie's on there, I think is unnecessary, because we've already seen all the adverts, the trailer on the run up. In fact, one of the first trailers we saw like over a year ago, nearly. Was it nearly a year ago? Whatever, beginning of the year, whatever, February, something like that. It had the scene where Rey and all the gang are looking out towards the Death Star, and we find out later it's the Death Star. Chewie's in that scene, so killing Chewie off before that in the thing, it can't. I don't know. They could have just not bothered the whole thing. I know that they wanted to get Rey on the Star Destroyer, but they could have done that anyway, because the dagger would have been up there if they'd found a way of doing it. I don't know, but just for me, the whole deal about killing off Chewie and making you think Chewie's dead. If you've been watching all the trailers, you know Chewie isn't dead at that point. That just didn't make any sense to me. We don't see a lot of R2. This was the other thing I made a note of yesterday when I saw it the second time. R2's not in it very much, and that's a shame, really, considering you know, it's the final instalment of the saga. You know, R2's been in it from, you know, from get go, been in all the films, and we don't see a lot of him. You know, I think, and some other people have made the same kind of comment, that I think JJ might have a bit of a thing against R2, because in Force Awakens, R2's he's covered up. He's not. I don't know. Just doesn't seem like JJ likes R2. Whatever. The other thing that got me as well is the Rey on the skimmer going over the massive waves to get to the Death Star. It didn't seem believable, because Rey spent her entire life on a desert planet. Where did she learn to sail? Just thought I'd throw that one in there. And I'll get on to this a bit more later on, but Rey seems a bit OP. She's gone a bit further. And I know we find out she's a Palpatine, and potentially now she knows she's a Palpatine, she's got more powers. I don't understand that. She just seems a bit over the top with her powers at the moment. I don't know. She's well overpowered. The other thing that I was thinking about, and when I watched it the second time, I learned why, but I did write it down the first time, is why or who would prohibit C-3PO from translating Sith? Because I didn't realise till I watched it the second time that it just kind of mentions that the Senate passed a law about not trans, and that makes sense, because Palpatine would have put that in place. But initially, I thought that whole scene with C-3PO, although it's very sentimental, and we get this whole film, we get to see C-3PO in a bit of different light. He's a bit more in the limelight, talks a lot more, does a lot more interaction with the camera, and this whole sequence of him needing to lose his mind so they can translate Sith. I don't know now whether I still think that we could have taken that out. I don't think it was completely necessary. If it wasn't in there, we wouldn't have gone to the planet and found, you know, some other bits of ways of. We wouldn't have found a way of getting onto the Star Destroyer with what was her name? Is it Zoe's medallion thing that she got that helps them pass all the security checks. I don't know whether there's a way of doing that. I think that whole sequence is. I don't know whether it adds to the film. I'll come on to that a bit later, because I've got a lot more to talk about with the different locations in this film. But I just think, yeah, you know, I don't know why C-3PO couldn't translate or wasn't allowed to speak Sith. I don't know. Okay, some of the emotional stuff I'm going to come on to next. The first one is for me, this film was about the sort of arc of Leia, Princess Leia Organa, you know, in general. That was big for me because, like, this film and the only thing I really take from The Last Jedi is Luke's sort of ending, if you like, the way he comes back, and I like that too. I know people slate that. I thought it was really good to force project, and that's using all of his powers and it kind of kills him off, sort of thing. You know, sort of almost not that he wants to end his life, but he's kind of given himself up for the better good of everyone else. And it's kind of what Leia does in this film. You know, she kind of, and you hear in the film that I can't remember who says it. Was it Mos Kanata says that she understands what she has to do to get through to Ben, and she does that by using the Force projection, I'd imagine, to speak to Ben at a pinnacle moment of the film, where he's in the middle of a battle with Rey, and it gives Rey the chance to kill him, almost, or at least wound him, mortally wound him, and he was dying. And it kind of, for me, it's Leia again doing a similar sort of thing to Luke, you know, giving up her own mortality to save her child. You know, Luke did that to save everyone else, and you know, I guess Han did that, you know, to try and save his son. So that kind of I thought was a good way for Leia to go. I like that. I got quite emotional with that, to be fair. And then later on, with the connection between Ben and Leia when they both disappear into the Force, and I'll talk about that in a second because I've done a little bit of research about that. But I did like that, distracting to help Rey, and then obviously Rey saves him, and Rey's OP powers can now regenerate, you know, life and stuff. Again, I think that's a bit OP, but. Yeah, so I love the Jedi voices at the end. I thought that was a great touch. You know, we started off with Rey trying to talk to the thousands generations of Jedi that went before her, and now at the end we hear all these voices. We heard so many voices. Started with Kenobi, I think it was, and that was really good. We got quite a few voices in there. Mace is in there as well. I really liked that. That gave me a chill. That did. I thought that was pretty damn good. And then obviously having the thousands of generations of Jedi, you know, helping her out, kind of brought her back up, and she managed to defeat Palpatine at the end. Really did like that. Reylo, is that what it's called? Hashtag Reylo. The scene at the end. I'm not too convinced by how this ended with Rey and Kylo, or Ben at the time. I suppose it wasn't really Kylo anymore, was it? I mean, the kiss and that doesn't bother me. I think having romance in these films isn't a big deal breaker for me. I don't think it's necessary, to be fair. But I didn't like the whole Romeo and Juliet type touch. You know, Ben comes back, sees Rey's dead, and now he's got these powers, and I'll explain how he got those powers in a second. He's got these powers to bring Rey back alive, and then he dies. It's a bit Romeo and Juliet. It's a bit much, I think. I don't know whether that works for me. It kind of. I would have liked to have, you know, if Ben came back from wherever he was pushed over the ledge, whatever, and he crawled back out, whatever. I would have liked maybe to have left it at that. Rey's dead. Ben becomes the Rise of Skywalker, which he's an actual Skywalker anyway. That would have been a good arc. Or I don't know, maybe both of them live happily ever after. Why not? It's a Disney film, right? And I don't want to go into that because I know that's probably going to get me in a lot of trouble. Sorry, but I don't know. I just don't think the ending that we got with those two sat right with me. I don't know. Just something about it just didn't quite seem right. Yeah, I think I probably would have thought Rey dying after killing off Palpatine would have been a fitting end. I think. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. The film is what it is, and I'm not overly happy with the end. Let's just leave it there. Okay. We were expecting a few characters. One that I was really expecting and wanting to see was Ahsoka. We didn't, we saw the Ghost, the ship. If you don't know, if you haven't seen Rebels, then it's worth a watch. But even last week, I think JJ hinted that Ahsoka's going to be in the film. Whether she was cut, that'd have been amazing to see her. An elderly, should have been fairly old, but that'd have been quite good. We only saw Wedge for about 2 seconds. I was expecting more of Wedge because we were told we were going to get some more Wedge. That'd have been good. We didn't get that. A little bit upsetting. We were introduced to a lot of new characters as well, and this is where I'm going to start talking about this. And the way the film was, I think it's the way the film was edited, the way it was cut, because I get the impression there was a lot more to this film than what we saw. Maybe there'll be a Blu-ray edition that's going to have deleted scenes. I don't know, but there were a lot of new characters. Can't think of the names now. The masked woman, Zoe or something like that. I don't know. But we never got any character development. This film went really fast. And this one I want to talk about and someone mentioned to me today when I had breakfast with a friend. He said he'd heard, because he hasn't seen it yet, that the film was very bitty. It was very, very chop, 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 one place, and it's very much it's sort of like a quest hunt, isn't it? To find this, to find that finds this, to find that, and they end up going from one planet to the next planet to the next. And it does feel that. But you know what? And I actually like that. I think that's quite good, and we don't always get a decent at the end. Don't always get a decent film where I like those films that go to many different places and shows us lots of different cultures and lots of different things like that. And I think JJ's done this really well. I just think that he hasn't had enough time, or the cutting room floors hasn't allowed him enough film to really delve in deep into some of these places and some of the cultures and some of the characters that we find. That it would have been amazing to understand the relationships between some of the characters that we know they've got a relationship, but we've already moved on to another scene, to somewhere else. Some people don't like that, and I get that. I get that that's not the best way to go always, but I actually like that kind of film. I like to be kept on the edge of my seat, and I like to be enthralled by this kind of Goonies, almost treasure hunt type deal. That got it for me. I actually really liked that. I thought that was really good, and I thought it was written really well. I think coming back to a few of the storylines, the Chewbacca in the thing being blown up, I don't think that needs to be in there. Could have cut that, saved some time there. I think we could have cut the whole C-3PO thing, found another way of getting on the Star Destroyer to find the dagger. So a lot of things. Although I said about the cultural stuff, there was a lot of stuff on the, I can't remember what planet it was, the desert planet, where they had the what do you call it, the big party, whatever it is. I don't know whether that could have all been in there. You could have saved a bit of time there. I don't know. There was a lot of places where in this film where I think it was, not like Last Jedi. Last Jedi, there was tons you could have cut half of Last Jedi out and not even worried about it. You just throw it all away. But with this film, I just think they're nice touches. I just think that you could probably have utilised that time and effort in other places, character development, that kind of stuff. Just a thought from me. Like I said earlier on, I like the amount of Palpatine we got. I wasn't expecting so much. I thought it might have just been a few scenes, but Palpatine's a massive character for me. I think Palpatine's brilliant, and I think we got more than enough of him. And at the end, where he takes the Force powers from Rey and Ben and it regenerates, and now he's walking because he doesn't need his bloody whatever this arm is that's holding him up in the beginning. I think that's amazing. I think that's a really good arc. There's some bits that I've researched already that's probably going to be in the novelisation graphic novel, when that comes out. That's the bit with at the end mainly, well researched, because I was a bit worried about the end sequence with Palpatine and Rey and stuff. Palpatine gets all these powers, he can shoot all this lightning up and do all this stuff. He hasn't really, I mean, he's been powerful before, but I don't think he's ever been that powerful. And that's because now he's at the Sith temple, and he's got all the power from the ancient Sith and stuff like that, and apparently that's how he's able to do that. Or sorry, Ben coming back and healing Rey, because obviously we know Rey had healing powers from earlier on in the film, but wouldn't have thought Ben would have that, to be fair. And he brings Rey back from the dead, and we wonder why and how. And from the novelisation, I've been told that that's because he's still linked to his mum, Leia, and you notice when they both disintegrate into the Force, Leia's still connected to Ben, and Leia helps Ben at that point to heal Rey, and that's going to come out in the novelisation. I think that's a nice touch. But I want that kind of thing in the film. I want to know that in the film, and just having Rey, just having Ben and Leia just disappear into the Force doesn't tell me that. I don't get that from the film. It would have been nice to have a little bit more in the actual film itself. And I know how they want to sell these books and stuff later, and the Blu-ray edition might have a bit more information in it, so they can sell more money later. And I just don't want it to be about how they've just left it just so they can make some more money 2 or 3 months down the line. That kind of stuff needs to be in the film, I think. You know, we need that kind of information in the film. I need to know what kind of powers and why he hasn't used them that Rey's dad's got. So Palpatine's son, Rey's dad, he must have been fucking well powerful. Where the hell has he been? What's he been doing? He's been hiding himself, getting married and having kids and stuff, and then dies, quite simply. He must have had powers. I'm hoping we hear more about that in the novelisation or in some kind of future episode of something or other. I think that's going to be good. They maybe even do Disney Plus do another Mandalorian type thing with Palpatine's son. Who knows? This film, one that I made there, the film feels a little bit like it's doing a lot of damage control and trying to be trying to service the fans. I think that's good. A lot of people are criticising this film for being that. And this film does answer a lot of questions. It does feel like we get a lot of those answers in the first 5 minutes, and it feels like they're doing that just for the fans. And I actually don't mind that. I know some people have criticised that, but I think we needed that after The Last Jedi was an absolute ball's ache. We needed something that was going to give us that kind of belief back in Star Wars, and to know all this stuff really early on in this film. I thought that was really good. Again, I'd like to have seen more of it, expand on those things a little bit more. Well, obviously they've caused more questions again, which is a pain in the backside, but it is what it is. It tells us what we need to know. It tells us fairly early on. Some people are saying that it maybe tells us a bit too much. I don't know about that. I certainly think they've left enough for us to be questioning certain things, like I've questioned in this video. So I think we've learnt what we needed to know. Who and what was Snoke? Turns out it was absolutely nothing, thanks to the writing. But the good thing about this film is that you can completely miss out The Last Jedi. You can go from Force Awakens straight to this film, understanding that Snoke's gone and that Luke's now gone is all you need to know from that film. That's it. Everything else in Last Jedi is just completely negated. It just doesn't make any sense, which I actually like. To be fair, it wasn't my favourite film. Let's come on to the last little bits and pieces. Hux, going back to a bit of the film. Hux is a bomb for me. I like Hux. I thought he was a really good character, and it turns out to be the spy, and then just gets shot. What the hell was that? I don't want to see that. If Hux is a spy, I want to see that progress through. I want to see that. I want to see him as in a rebel suit. Let's have it. You know what I mean? It just seemed a bit like let's just get rid of this character. I also like the fact that more stormtroopers, we find out, have actually turned good, actually mutinied, and I think that's a good touch as well. Although it's really good, it really humanises stormtroopers, and it's a good thing because I like to dress up as a stormtrooper. I'm part of a cosplay group that does a lot of charity work, and I like the idea that we can be quite good as well. So that's pretty much everything from what I've taken from the film. It's been a little bit long-winded. This is quite a long video. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, so I have to excuse all the coughing and sniffing and stuff. But apart from that, I want to thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, I'm sure you might have, whack them in the comments down below. And I'm sure some of the things I've said today, someone's going to have an argument against or for them. That's just the way we are as Star Wars fans. We're all a critic, right? And it just is what it is. I've got my own opinions, everyone else has got theirs. That's fine, I've got no problem with that. Just try and be constructive. Don't be dismissive or nasty in the comments. That's not fair. If you want to learn a bit more about what we do, please whack the link in the description. It will take you to our website. You can see what we do. We do a lot of charity work for local charities and national charities as well. Yeah, I'm going to maybe do more of these videos. If any more Star Wars stuff comes out, I might do some more Marvel bits when they start coming out, because I know there's a lot of Marvel stuff coming out for Phase 4 next year and the year after. And I'm sure I'll have a lot to say about those, because I'm not very impressed with the way Marvel went. So that should be good. Any questions, like I say, whack them in the comments. If you like this video, please whack a thumbs up. And if you could, please subscribe to our channel so you get future updates when we upload more videos. And we'll see you on another one. Take care. Bye.